Hi Everhouse, my name is David Camenzuli and welcome to house number 15. My wife and I fell in love with this house because we love the location. It's in Inii, which is in the center of the island, close to most things. It's also extremely quiet and private. You don't hear any cars or any external noise. It's a very tranquil space. It's very calm. It needs to contain our kids' energy. We live in a very fast-paced world, so we wanted something calming that you have time to digest and enjoy the house to the fullest. The house literally opens up on both sides. You enter the main door through the garden. You almost feel like you're in a protected space between the olive trees and the high limestone walls. What we really wanted for our family was to create a place where you're almost living outdoors. We tried to bring the outdoors in. So we had a blank canvas. It was literally 2 rooms and some orange trees. Therefore, we were able to create a house that exactly met all our needs. The house has 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, an open plan living, kitchen, dining, and it also has a gym in the lower level. Inside, we try to keep it as clean and crisp as possible, whereas the outside, the garden, the landscaping, the walls, we kept it more wabi-sabi. We kept a very neutral palette, as you can see on the earthy tones. The main materials in the house are very few, which are stone, wood, glass, and steel. Being very few, we were able to go into much more detail and bring out the best in them. You barely need any paintings because the light just creates its own shadows. Just seeing the walls and the light move throughout the day is perfect. We kept a lot of curves throughout the whole house. The staircase was built in gypsum board, plastered with the same lime plaster that follows through the whole house. Also, the bathrooms continue with the same plaster. It's a bone color, which is our favorite color, and very earthy to complement the limestone walls, which gives a very calming feeling. The ceilings, we try to keep them as high as possible to give you that breath of fresh air. So we have about 3-meter high ceilings. With the 2 large openings on each side, we kept the back patio for that ventilation throughout all the seasons. Basically, when you're in the living room, you feel like you're in a garden. We have plants on each side. We went with a lot of hard-wearing plants, very Mediterranean, typical for Malta. For the outdoor area, we use Bali stone tile for the pool. It's actually a real stone, not a glass mosaic. We have all the outdoors, kitchen tops, fireplace with Roman travertine, which were filled on top, but the sides were all left raw because I like the rough nature of the stone. Being passionate about beautiful things, I took it upon myself to design a couple of pieces myself, the outdoor furniture. I have a very good steel guy who I gave some drawings to, and he created the sofa and the outdoor chairs made in steel, and then I just got the cushions made separate. Natural lighting, we have plenty because it's south-facing. We have a lot of diffused lights, not too many spotlights, wall lights everywhere, bedside lamps, which gives you a very cozy feeling in the evening. The kitchen was designed to use 100% of the space, so the cupboards go all the way to the ceiling, so you can put storage in it. The island has stools on either side, so it's almost like a second dining table. We use it for breakfast, for coffee, for lunch. We can use it almost all the time. We have a large dining table that sits about 12 people, which is the place where the kids can do their homework. It's where we play, we draw, we have friends over. It's beautiful because it's in the center of the room and you can enjoy all aspects of the garden at the same time. What's great about open plan living is that if we're in the kitchen, we can keep an eye on the kids if they're in the pool or outside or playing in the back part. We chose a limited color palette mainly based on earthy tones, and also the materials we used were also limited. We used an exterior plaster that almost looks like a stone called archipietra, which goes really nicely with the old Maltese limestone. Even the facade, we kept the old stone to be in keeping with the village core of Leah. The contrast between the new and the old works beautifully. All the bedrooms are facing the pool and garden area, so you can enjoy the morning sun. We went for steel railing because we felt it was more in keeping with Leah. We're in the village core, it's much more appropriate. We also created a planter in front of the railing, which will eventually start cascading down. Upstairs, we have a master bathroom with 2 vanities and a freestanding bathtub. It's almost like a wet room. Regarding the lower level, we have an office, which is situated right under the sculptural staircase. We also have a yoga, gym room, a large mirror on the wall with curved edges to continue with the curves of the staircase and the arches, and a cinema room for the kids to kind of just unwind if they want to have their own separate space, which is great for us. The doors are not the standard doors. I chose to keep on going up all the way to the ceiling. There's no top box frame to have more flow. I think it gives a nice effect. The 4th bedroom lies above a third-party property. Since we detached the house, we had to create a bridge. And in my opinion, it worked out beautifully because that bedroom is really nice and private. We wanted the house to be timeless, but still warm. The plastered walls together with the old stone really looks amazing. It's a little oasis, this open plan house within these large limestone walls. What I'm most proud of is that we achieved our goal. We wanted something very calming, very serene, because at the end of the day, the house is almost a backdrop to all your memories. Whether it's Christmas or birthday, you're spending so much time there. So it's a very important space. So I'm a happy guy.
Support Everhouse by becoming a member. Get access to exclusive behind-the-scenes content, members-only posts, and give us ideas on what you want to see next. Your support helps keep this channel growing and lets us create more content for you. Join now by clicking the button below.
Hi Everhouse, my name is Goktug Sarioz. You're in Saddle Peak House, Topanga, California. We're in Topanga, California, in Santa Monica Mountains. Designed by Michael Sant. It was finished in 2015. It faces the Pacific Ocean. The plot where it sits is very special. It has this gorgeous boulder that welcomes you. Everything about the house is designed around the boulder. Originally, when Michael got the plot, he pushed the land a little bit in order to fit everything properly. When you turn the corner from the boulder, the house and the pool reveal themselves. We first saw Saddle Peak House in publications in 2018, and we finally got to stay here in 2019. We fell in love with the house and contacted Michael Sant, expressing our love for the details and how perfect everything was. We met in person for coffee, and I expressed him that if he ever thinks about selling it, I will be very interested. And for the past 4 years, I kept bugging him, and we stayed here 3 more times. Then finally, this past July, it became a reality. I really loved the space, and I didn't think it was going to happen. We kept giving this as an example to our realtor. We kept looking for the level of detail the level of understanding, the location, the size, and that nothing is too flashy about it. Nothing came close. When we first stayed here that weekend, it was an incredible weekend. We kept dreaming about it. And then going through this process of 4 or 5 years of seeing all these houses, and now that it finally happened, it's like too good to be true. I still pinch myself that it's just like, hey, I'm actually here. I'm originally from Istanbul, Turkey. I've been in the States for quite a while now. I've been in the entertainment marketing business for a couple decades now. And I do movie marketing, movie trailers, TV shows. Besides that, I'm an entrepreneur with all other things, and I continue to paint, design. The house really captures the California living in its ultimate. When you're in the house, you're kind of like constantly exposed to the day and nature. It's very calming. It faces west, so it gets a great light all day long. But it faces everywhere. So it gets the east light, the west light, and then it just does an incredible job of framing the nature. Total square footage is around 2,500 square feet. It actually has a studio in the entrance and then the main house. The main house has 3 bedrooms, and then the studio has another bedroom and a living room. Michael did an incredible job of reducing the materials, which I really love. It's just board form concrete, grappa wood, glass, and steel. That's why I fall in love with the house. The craftsmanship is incredible. With all the board form concrete, it's very grounded into the earth, but at the same time, it has this airy floating feel to it. So when you look either west in or when you're inside the pool, it has a floating idea. It's really beautiful. The entire house is one wood species, the grappa. Inside, the outside, the door frames, everything is from the same Brazilian wood. The house does the juxtaposition of hard and soft and cold and warm really well. It's so reduced down to essentials, but yet it captures everything effortlessly. The way Michael designed it has this quietness, quiet architecture that he says it is minimalist and simple in a sense. You don't really have anything that you don't really need. It really clears your mind. There's no clutter. It's very, very clean, but it's very warm in the same time. It gives you different feelings in different times. The summer is very different than the winter, but overall, I think it's the calmness it creates. It really gives you a space to think. You're very high from the ocean, and then beautiful roads. That's another thing for me because I love driving these canyons. That was a part of the reason when I found out about the house where it is, and it's just like all these canyons that I love driving. So that was even extra special. Getting up here is kind of a pleasure for me. My normal life, it's very busy nonstop, so coming up here, meeting with friends and family, it really gives you this very peaceful state of mind. The way the house captures the nature, you don't really feel like you need anything. When you look at one side, and you almost feel like you're in the desert in Joshua Tree. You turn around and you look at the ocean, and that's a completely different feeling. And then you're down below and surrounded by all the greenery, and then that has a very different feeling. It's really like indoor-outdoor living in a way that you're inside the house, but you constantly feel like you're out in the nature. When I open both doors and close the screens, then you have this constant circulation. And then you can open the different sides of the house, just constantly breathes. Most of the days, even when it's really hot, and if you do it properly, you really feel like you're just feeling the ocean breeze. Yes, it gets hot, but with the right controlling, it's pretty incredible. And you can always jump into the pool. Michael's vision for the house was sharing the architecture. I'm a new custodian for the house per se, and I continue to share this place and this architecture. Some things are really worth waiting for. This, I think, is a great example. Now it's finally here, and I'm just like, there was a reason for 4 or 5 years of waiting for something like this to happen. Yeah.
Hi Everhouse, we are Tony and Innie King. Welcome to our home in Bedford, New York. There's something really special about this piece of land the house is on. We're right next to a farm, we're backing onto the woods. It really feels like we're sort of on the edge of the forest here, but we also have some beautiful green lawns. When we moved into the house, there were something like 29 dead pine trees out the front. What we did was clean everything up, start to work on the landscaping, and then start to make plans for a full gut renovation.
It had a quite unique bone as well. I think there are many sort of traditional farmhouses in the area, but it had quite unique structure we can build upon to build something slightly different from everyone else.
We lived pretty close by, and we would drive past this house on a regular basis, and all we could see was dead trees and a big dirty house, but we were very intrigued by what was beyond the trees. Eventually the house became for sale, went to an open house, made an offer, and we were lucky enough to buy the property.
We focused on designing something that will stay timeless. Design something that will make the material shine. We chose materials really carefully. Slate roof, a lot of metals like brass and copper gutter. Those were the most important things to us, and then we designed everything around those. We defined different areas with sort of different color palette. Some of the smaller rooms, like the powder room downstairs and my office, we wanted those rooms to be a little bit more interesting and dramatic, and that's why we went with wallpaper. It's very special. Everyone loves the wallpaper. Sometimes some people can't even tell those are wallpaper because like the level of details is really incredible. Every time I look at those rooms, it makes me really happy.
One of the things we added was another floor above the living room, which we turned into the ensuite bathroom for the primary bedroom. We have a bathtub right in front of this giant window, and it overlooks the farmland and the pond. So whilst you get an amazing view, whilst you're in the bathtub, it's completely private and it feels ultra luxurious.
Having that lots of natural light is important for us, so we put a lot of big windows everywhere, and then love getting so much sunlight.
And then the other thing is we work closely together, but we don't always want to be in the same office. So we have a kind of really beautiful office space that one flows into the other, but we have pocket doors. We can make them private if we need to. We do spend a lot of time at home and work from home, so it's really nice to be able to sort of have these different positions where you can sort of see out into the woods or onto the pool or into the pond. And then sometimes if we're, feeling like we're working too hard, we pull a nice car around to the front and have it in front of the office so we can at least look at the lines of the cars while we're working. We love old things. We love the house to feel classic and old, and we really love vintage and classic cars. One of the most important things to us was the garage, and that's kind of where we started. So we built a garage that holds 6 cars, and what we try and do is really maximize use of them every weekend and as much as we can. We love nothing more than to sort of forget about the technology we've been using all week and to have a bit more of an analog lifestyle the weekend. Bedford itself is very special. It's the perfect mix of quiet countryside and beautiful horse farms, but also not too far from Manhattan. Going further north from here, you really get into quite a rural setting. And there's some incredible roads, so we'll go out in the morning, take a couple of cars for coffee, switch around and maybe go for dinner in the evening and something, and really sort of integrate them into our lifestyle. We do love going to the city and going to our office, and we have a lot of meetings, and there's nothing better than escaping and coming back to the countryside. And I love that juxtaposition of being in Manhattan for a few days and then coming back up to the countryside. The two lead to a really balanced life. One of the things we wanted to do with landscaping was create different zones. So we have an area where we can sit by the pool, a couple of chairs behind a pond, a lot of beautiful trees around it. So we tried to create different feelings and different zones that match the mood we're in. We have Fozzie and Peggy, our golden doodles. The house is so perfectly set up for them. They have a dog washing room, but more importantly, they have 6 acres to go off and run around that's completely fenced in. Sometimes it feels like they're in a luxury dog hotel. Bedford's a great place to raise a family as well. We obviously have 2 golden doodles, and we have our daughter Olivia. She loves living here. She has a great network of friends. It's a really safe place for her, but it's also close to the city, so it's the perfect place to bring up a family.
Around the time we were planning what to do with the attic, I got really into Pilates, and then I thought it was a perfect opportunity to create really beautiful room with reformer in the middle, looking out the windows. Very happy to have that done.
In this area, there are a lot of houses with lots of bedrooms. We didn't need that or want that. We wanted to create a house of kind of normal proportions, but with larger rooms and a really good flow.
Tony and I have been working together for almost 18 years, and then we moved up here 10 years ago. I would say last 10 years have been our sort of happiest chapter of our lives. We love living in quiet countryside. My favorite part of it is I've always had an old soul, and then I want to sort of like almost deny that I live in a hyper-modern world, and living here, driving older cars, like make me think I'm sort of like living in this time where everything's sort of simpler. I think I love that life.
Hi Everhouse, I'm Dominic Kozerski, this is Enrico Bonetti, and we're at Peacock Hill in Pennsylvania.
The house was built in 1975. The owner was a billionaire in the oil business. He would come here in helicopter, land the helicopter on the lawn at the entrance. He wanted a weekend house separated from his business, and the house was perfect. It was clean design, minimal, designed very functionally. Everything has a reason to be there, in contrast with a lot of houses that you find today.
We're architects, and a few years ago, both our families were asking to look for a retreat someplace out of the city.
We started to look for a place to build a house. We have done several houses in the Hamptons, but we see that more of a summer place, So we decided to look in the opposite direction, the first part of Pennsylvania coming from New York. Driving on this road, I happened to look up and I saw what looked like a fantastic house. We saw that it was available. We came to see it and we couldn't believe what we found. We wanted to build one from scratch, but finding such a treasure was even more exciting. The entrance of the house has a bridge that spans over what was designed at the time as a Japanese rock garden. From when it was designed until now, many trees grew around, so it kind of changed a little.
The house was designed around this split-level living room with entertainment area, with the bar overlooking it. Then there's other areas like the double-height sunroom with another large living space and a double-sided fireplace. There's the guest wing overlooking the pool area, and upstairs there's 2 primary bedrooms. As we're in the mountains, we have fantastic light and also climate that changes from foggy and misty, little rainy, all to full-on sun, and that can happen in a day. The north side of the house is facing the forest, and the windows are selected to pick up on individual targeted views or onto trees, whereas on the south, everything is open. Some of them are single story, some of them are double story, brise soleils for controlling the light. As the angle of the sun changes throughout the year, we have really beautiful interactions, the way it gets modeled by the sunlight.
The house being designed right at the end of the oil crisis was thought very differently from other houses of the period. The pool, for example, the water got heated up at night and then distributed with heat exchangers through the house. And then there is a big cooling tower right underneath the house to do the opposite in the summer. Some of the things that are really interesting in the house are the bathrooms. It was at the time when it was in fashion to use European fixtures, ceramic lavatory, toilets, bidet. I guess they were very exotic at the time, and we kept it like that. Luckily, all the original furniture was stored in the basement. Amazing pieces from Pace Collections, great line of furniture in the 70s. We have some items from a designer of the 70s, Riccardo Fasanello, who did the Fardos chair that we have in the game room. He also did the revolving chair that we have in the sunroom. A lot of other pieces were already in the house. We just had to restore it and bring it back to what they used to be.
With all the windows facing perfectly south, we decided that all the walls facing the windows needed to be dark so as to minimize reflections, so you really get to see the outside. We then started to look at painting the outside of the house black as well. In the winter time, the black house ends up being very contrasted with a blanket of snow in the whole valley. It ends up looking to the naked eye like a black and white photograph from the outside.
One of the more interesting aspects of the house is the quality of the material. The interior of the house is clad with California redwood, which you can't get anymore. Pristine boards, perfectly beautiful. And then in front of the windows that are opening to the drop-off, there are big, perfect beams of redwood, something that is impossible to find today.
When we bought the house, my wife and I were not married yet, and so we ended up having a lot of big parties here with our single friends. Those then transitioned into parties with all our friends when we all started having kids, and we would have the pool full of kids for birthday parties and sleepovers. As our kids have gotten older, they're getting into music and instruments, and we have band weekends and dad bands playing here. It's a versatile, flexible space for really, really good entertaining. The property's about 50 acres, and a lot of it is inaccessible because we're on the top of a hill. So we have a 4x4 that we use to explore and chores around the property when trees are falling down. When we need more heavyweight lifting, we have a diesel pickup truck. And all those vehicles are complemented by scramblers, trials bikes that we have for real adventures.
One of the good things to have a house in this location and very close to the city is that we come here a lot. I usually come on weekend with my wife, my kids, and only comes another weekend with his family. What is nice of this house being so big, is about 8,000 square feet, is that we end up working here sometimes, I work from the office sometimes, but also it's a place where we can bring all the prototypes that we have been doing. For example, we have a lounger that we did for an Audi, designed to watch a movie on an iPad. Because we thought when you're watching something, you never have something that is supporting your elbows, so made in this shape, it's perfect for that. It was a bit of a gamble to invest in a house like this, in this location, but it worked out because now actually my kids are coming by themselves with their friends. And I guess your kids are gonna start soon, right? Yeah.
Subscribe to the Everhouse channel by clicking on the logo to receive updates on our latest episodes.